What if you woke up one day in the heart of the Wild West, surrounded by the rugged landscapes of the American frontier? The sun breaks over the horizon, casting a golden hue over the dusty plains, and the air is thick with the scent of earth and livestock. The sound of distant hoofbeats echoes in the stillness, heralding the start of a day that will not be easy. You might think of cowboys, saloons, and thrilling shootouts. But let's take a moment to step back and see what daily life was really like in this challenging era. Drop your thoughts on what wild topics you want us to explore next. Your ideas might just inspire the next adventure. Imagine waking up in a small, ramshackle wooden cabin, the floor creaking under your weight. The walls are rough-hewn logs, and the light filtering through the cracks is barely enough to illuminate the modest space. You rise from a simple bed, perhaps made from hay and a few old blankets, and your body feels stiff from the cold night air. The first thing you hear is the crow of a rooster outside, mixed with the low moans of cattle in the distance. Stepping outside, you are greeted by the vast expanse of the prairie, the sky a brilliant blue, punctuated by the occasional cloud. The sun is already climbing, promising another scorching day. You look around and take in the surroundings: a few scraggly trees, a dirt road leading to town, and the distant outline of the mountains. But before you can even consider your plans for the day, the reality of your situation sets in. Food is a pressing concern. Breakfast consists of whatever you can scrounge up. Perhaps it's a few hardtack biscuits or some leftover porridge. Fresh fruits and vegetables are hard to come by, and if you're lucky, the local market might have some supplies, though they are often overpriced and of questionable quality. The diet is heavy on meat, often game that you or someone in your family has hunted. The idea of breakfast, as many of us know it today, doesn't exist here. As you prepare for the day, you might notice the clothing of the time. Sturdy boots, worn from countless days of work, are essential. Your trousers are likely made from durable denim, and your shirt is a simple cotton blend, perhaps a bit tattered at the edges. The clothing of the Wild West is practical, designed for labor rather than style. Venturing into town requires a journey, and depending on where you live, that could mean a long trek down a dusty path. The sound of your boots crunching on the gravel accompanies you as you walk. Along the way, you might meet other settlers, their faces weathered by the sun and hardships. The community is tight-knit, yet survival often comes first. Once in town, the sights and sounds are overwhelming. The saloon is alive with chatter and laughter, but it's also a place where trouble brews. The smell of sweat, whiskey, and smoke fills the air. Brawls can erupt at any moment, as tempers flare over card games and honor. You navigate through the crowd, keeping your distance, knowing that conflict could easily escalate. The general store is your next stop, where goods are bartered and traded. The shelves are filled with essential supplies: canned foods, tools, and clothing. Yet, you notice the prices are steep. Dependable goods are scarce, and every purchase requires careful thought. You might overhear a conversation about the latest gold rush or a recent cattle drive, which brings both excitement and anxiety to the locals. But wait, there's a detail about hygiene that few people consider. Bathing is not a common practice. The idea of cleanliness is often overshadowed by survival. Water is a precious resource, and many people go weeks without a proper wash. Soap is a luxury, and when baths do happen, they often involve a quick rinse in a nearby river. The air is filled with the scent of sweat and the dust of the plains, creating a reality that most today cannot fathom. As you conclude your errands, the weight of the day ahead begins to settle in. The harshness of life in the Wild West is palpable. The risks are real: disease, injury, and the threat of violence loom large. You think about the challenges of finding food, making a living, and staying safe. The sun begins to dip in the sky, casting long shadows over the town. Another day is coming to a close, and the reality of the Wild West is ever present. As you make your way back home, you realize that surviving here is not just about courage, but also about resilience and adaptability in the face of constant challenge. What would you do if you found yourself living in such a world, where every day is a fight for survival? As the sun sinks lower, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, you find yourself reflecting on the day's events and the challenges that lie ahead. The dusty road home seems longer than before, and the weight of your responsibilities presses heavily on your shoulders. You think of the livestock that need tending, the crops that must be watered, and the looming threat of harsh weather that could destroy everything you've worked for. Upon reaching your cabin, the familiar creak of the door welcomes you back. Inside, the small space feels like both a refuge and a prison. You set your hat on a hook and take a moment to appreciate the quiet. The only sounds are the gentle rustle of the wind outside and the distant howl of a coyote, a reminder that nature is as fierce as it is beautiful. Your stomach growls, bringing you back to the present. Dinner will be another simple affair, perhaps some jerky and beans, but it's a meal that will sustain you for another day. As you prepare your meager supper, your thoughts drift to the people of the town. Each has their own story. Some are hopeful, others burdened with the weight of their past. There's Old Man Jenkins, who claims to have struck gold only to lose it all in a poker game. Then there's Clara, the woman who runs the boarding house, always with a warm smile but whose eyes reveal the hardship of raising her younger siblings alone after their parents perished in a wagon accident. These stories weave a complex tapestry of life on the frontier, where every face tells a tale of struggle, resilience, and sometimes, unexpected kindness. After dinner, you light a small lantern, its flickering flame casting shadows on the rough walls. The darkness outside seems to close in, and you feel a chill run through the air. Nights in the Wild West can be as dangerous as the days, with bandits and outlaws lurking in the shadows. You remember the tales of the notorious gang that roamed the area last month, leaving townsfolk in fear and forcing many to sleep with one eye open. The crack of a twig outside makes you pause, heart racing for a moment, until you realize it's just a raccoon scavenging through the remnants of your trash. To calm your nerves, you reach for a well-worn book, perhaps a collection of poems or tales from the East, where life seems to flow with more ease. You find solace in the words, a reminder of a world beyond the dust and toil. Reading by lantern light, you escape into a realm where adventures unfold in picturesque settings, far removed from the harsh realities of your own life. With your mind momentarily wandering, you recall the stories of the local Native American tribes who once roamed these lands long before settlers arrived. Their deep connection to the earth, their reverence for nature, and their knowledge of survival were awe-inspiring. You think of the elders who would tell tales of the stars, guiding their people through vast, open spaces. It's a reminder that the land has a history far richer than your own struggles. Perhaps you should seek out one of the elders, listen to their wisdom, and learn how to live in greater harmony with the land. As the night deepens, the sounds of the prairie shift. The rustling of leaves becomes more pronounced, and the nocturnal chorus of crickets and owls fills the air. You step outside with a blanket wrapped around your shoulders, taking a moment to stargaze. The vastness of the sky is breathtaking, a stark contrast to the confined space of your cabin. Each star sparkles like a distant dream, and you can't help but feel a sense of wonder. It's in these moments that the weight of your daily grind seems to lift, if only for a while. The chill in the air reminds you of the changing seasons. Winter is approaching, and with it comes the threat of snowstorms that can isolate you from the rest of the world. You think of the provisions you need to gather before the first flurries fall: extra firewood, more canned goods, and perhaps even a few wool blankets to keep warm. The thought of long, cold nights spent huddled by the fire is daunting, but it's also a chance to bond with your family over stories and laughter, a reminder of the strength found in togetherness. Before heading back inside, a howl pierces the night, sending a shiver down your spine. It's the unmistakable call of wolves, echoing through the valley. They are a reminder of the wildness that exists just beyond the edges of civilization, a beauty that can turn fierce without warning. You take a deep breath, absorbing the moment, allowing the wilderness to fill your senses. It's a part of life here, a constant reminder that survival is a delicate balance between fear and respect for the land. Finally, you retreat into the warmth of your cabin, the door creaking shut behind you. The lantern flickers gently, casting a soft glow as you settle down for the night. The day's trials may have been exhausting, but as you drift off to sleep, you find solace in the knowledge that tomorrow is another opportunity to navigate the challenges of the Wild West, with all its hardships and hidden beauties waiting to be discovered. As you drift into sleep, the quiet of the night envelopes you, but it's not long before the sounds of the prairie begin to stir your consciousness once again. The howling of the wolves fades into the distance, replaced by the rhythmic tapping of rain against the wooden roof. A storm is brewing, and the scent of wet earth wafts through the cracks in the cabin. You pull the blanket tighter around you, the warmth a comforting barrier against the uncertainty that lingers just outside your door. Morning arrives with a soft gray light filtering through the window. The rain has transformed the landscape into a shimmering canvas of greens and browns, a refreshing sight after weeks of dust. You rise and stretch, feeling the familiar stiffness in your limbs, a reminder of the labor that awaits you. The livestock will need feeding, and the crops, now soaked, will require your attention to prevent rot. After a quick breakfast of stale bread and preserved fruit, you grab your coat and step outside. The air is crisp, invigorating, and you can hear the soft gurgle of the river, swollen with rainwater. As you make your way to the barn, the mud squelches underfoot, a stark contrast to the dry, dusty road you've grown accustomed to. You take a moment to appreciate the life that thrives in this weather. The birds are chirping merrily, and the wildflowers are blooming in vibrant colors, painting the landscape. Upon reaching the barn, you find your horse, Dusty, a loyal companion who's always eager for attention. Giving him a gentle pat, you grab a pitchfork and begin to clean out the stalls. The rhythmic motions are meditative, allowing your mind to wander. You think of the upcoming town meeting, where the townsfolk will discuss how to prepare for the winter. Rumors of a harsh season ahead have everyone on edge. The thought of gathering supplies and securing the homestead weighs heavily on your mind. As you finish up in the barn, a loud crack of thunder rumbles overhead, causing Dusty to snort nervously. You step outside to see dark clouds rolling in, the kind that promise more than just rain. Suddenly, a flash of lightning illuminates the sky, and you decide it's best to head back inside before the storm hits in full force. Just as you reach the cabin, the first drops of rain begin to fall, quickly turning into a torrential downpour. With the storm raging outside, you settle in with a cup of strong coffee, the warmth of the mug comforting against your palms. You take the opportunity to reflect on your plans for the winter. Perhaps it's time to trade for supplies with neighboring farms, or even make the journey to town for proper winter gear. You recall Old Man Jenkins mentioning a traveling merchant who might have what you need. The thought of haggling over goods brings a smile to your face, a brief moment of levity amidst the chaos of the storm. As the rain beats down, you hear a knock at your door. Surprised, you open it to find Clara, drenched but smiling, her hair plastered to her forehead. "Mind if I come in for a spell?" she asks, shaking off the water like a wet dog. You step aside, inviting her in, and she quickly removes her soaked jacket, revealing a simple dress that clings to her form. "I thought I'd check on you. The storm's got everyone on edge," she says, glancing out the window at the sheets of rain. You offer her a seat at your small table, pouring her a cup of coffee. The two of you share stories of the town, laughing about the antics of the local children who try to catch frogs in the puddles. Clara's laughter is infectious, and for a moment, the worries of survival fade into the background. She talks about her siblings and how they keep her on her toes, always finding new ways to get into trouble. You can't help but admire her strength and resilience as a pillar of support not just for her family, but for the entire community. The storm begins to subside, the rain now a gentle patter against the roof. You both decide to venture outside, drawn by the fresh scent of the earth. The world has transformed. Vibrant greens shine under the newly revealed sunlight, and the birds sing their jubilant songs, celebrating the end of the downpour. Clara suggests a walk to the riverbank to see how high the water has risen. You nod in agreement, and together you make your way down the familiar path. As you approach the river, the sheer force of the water flowing is both awe-inspiring and intimidating. The current is swift, carrying leaves and debris downstream. You both stand in silence for a moment, mesmerized by the beauty of nature's power. Clara points out a nest of ducks struggling against the current, and with a sudden impulse, you decide to help guide them to safety. Working together, you create a makeshift barrier with fallen branches, redirecting the little ones to calmer waters. It's a small act, but the satisfaction of doing something good fills you both with warmth. As the ducks swim away, you and Clara exchange glances, a shared understanding of the importance of community and cooperation. With the sun now shining brightly, you walk back to your cabin, feeling lighter than you have in days. The storm may have brought challenges, but it also forged connections and reminded you of the beauty of shared struggles. As you open the door to your home, you realize that while the Wild West may be unforgiving, it also holds the potential for unexpected friendships and moments of joy amidst the hardships.